Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 324 for November 20th, 2023. Tonight, we're going to discuss summer is coming down there, winter is coming up here, could be meh. Clay, it ain't so, Wallace. Movie franchises that are making a comeback. A rock that captures carbon, reinventing tires for the EV age. This is an Opto in business. It'll make sense later. Reading the Cuneiform on the wall. When is a coup not a coup? Charging into battery waste discussions. And the fast food wars. I wrote part 1, but it's really continued. Let's get going. Here in ohmTown Daily. Hello everybody, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the Ring of Sentience for the sentient AI that watches over all of ohmTown and keeps Mayor Watt from, I don't know, driving off the rails. You want to say hello?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, see, the sentient AI is from the future, and they talk different up there in that new future age. Anyway, we've already selected our 10 articles. Some interesting things have been happening on the front of AI, and I don't want to become like an AI main throughout our show. Throughout every iteration, every episode of ohmTown Daily, but we're going to end up talking about this Sam Altman, OpenAI, Microsoft, and knock-on effects and whatnot. So stick around if you're here early and you want to talk about that kind of stuff. But otherwise, we've got 10 articles, runs a pretty broad range, just like ohmTown does. 6 main categories, 50 different channels, each one with a niche focus. ohmTown Daily is the holistic side of it, so we talk about a little of everything. So let's get into the articles themselves. What say ye?
I say let's go.
Let's go. The very first article is over in the Greenogram channel. It's all about basically nature, eco-friendly stuff, renewable power, being green. This article says record-breaking summer set to hit southern hemisphere. It's winter up here, it's summer down there. El Nino and climate change expected to deliver heat waves and extreme weather. This is possibly going to be one of those seesaw, everything gets hotter and hotter and hotter type of events. We'll have to see and wait really to see what nature says to us, but let's go over to the article itself. It's over at nature.com. Bianca Nogrady, I guess, is the author of this. The deck statement says the northern hemisphere experienced a sweltering summer due to climate and meteorological patterns. There is actually a typo in the deck statement. That's okay. Scientists say the South will not escape. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to get brutal.
Well, we've already seen instances of that in the concert news out of Brazil.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. Somebody met their demise at a Taylor Swift concert, and they're giving the arena, or it wasn't what was it? It was an arena. They're basically giving the concert venue 24 hours to explain why this took place. And from what I have heard, there was no water anywhere, and it was a cashless event. So everybody had to have wristbands, and the wristbands weren't working. And when they were working, they were triple and quadruple charging people. So it was drained immediately, and you had no way of knowing by the time it actually drained, and there was still no water. So it's quite fascinating that this even took place. But I think this is the anomaly in concert venues. Like, I've watched a lot of European concert events because I'm into music, and they normally record them and then post them. Hello, Z. Welcome to the show. If anybody else is lurking out there, good to see you. Stick around.
And I think they weren't even allowed to bring in water. That was part of the problem.
Correct.
And the heat index was apparently almost 140 degrees. So
Good God.
we can imagine. I mean, I don't know if that was the case inside the arena, but at least in the area.
That's insane. So just imagine, as summer starts ramping up more and more, what's going to end up happening in these areas. Events like this, really, they should always... My feeling is water should be free in venues like this. You have to have fountains. You have to have a water supply. Anything else is downright predatory. So El Nino effects is one of the headlines, or not the headlines, the little subsections in this article, as 2023 draws to a close. Meteorologists and climate scientists are predicting weather patterns that will lead to record high land and sea surface temperatures. These include strong El Nino in the Pacific Ocean and positive Indian Ocean dipole. So you're going to end up with ever increasing hot water and land surface temperatures. I hope the AI is okay. Something bad is happening.
I'm glitchy today.
Yeah. So those kinds of big drivers can be a big difference on drought and extremes across the southern hemisphere, says Ali Gallant, a climate scientist at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia, and chief investigator for the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Climate Extremes. That's always... I keep seeing centers of excellence in various places. In Australia, both of these phenomena tend to cause significant drought conditions, particularly across the east of the country. So we'll see this, what I would coin odd climate events, increasing temperature. We saw that all this summer as well, and horrible storms. So we'll see what goes on. But there's a lot more to this article. It gets into the whole heating the planet discussion. And yeah, there are various graphs and videos that embody this ever increasing. The past 12 months were the hottest on record. Climate Central's report estimates that the period from November 2022 to October 2023 was 1.32 degrees C above the pre-industrial baseline. So we're quickly approaching this temperature where it's basically going to be past the point of no return, where it becomes a cycle of fueling itself. And when that happens, basically climate is going to be complete chaos. I don't know. AI, can you fix that?
I'm attempting to.
Okay. In 2019, southern annular mode was in a strong negative phase. What this meant was that across eastern Australia, there were a lot of very hot and dry winds blowing from desert across eastern Australia, and so this really exacerbated the bushfire risk. This applies to pretty much every other region as it increases the surface temperature as it shifts from summer in the north, it becomes summer in the south. And they'll suffer from the same climate increases that are accelerated during summer months. Let's keep going through the articles. We'll get on to the next one. This next article is over in the Continuity Report. Chicken Run Studio at risk of running out of clay, only enough left to finish one more movie. I know, it is the end of the world. Aardman Animations, the studio behind Chicken Run, is facing a crisis. The British company was founded in 1972. and is primarily known for their stop motion and claymation characters, including Wallace and Gromit. 2000's Chicken Run, which follows a group of chickens attempting to escape a prison-like farm, was their first feature-length movie, and they have so far followed that with 8 more movies. I cannot believe that 2000 was their Chicken Run first movie. I swear I've seen all of these movies before I watched Chicken Run, but that's okay. Let's see here. Shaun the Sheep, Early Man, upcoming sequel to Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
That is an excellent title.
I like that one. So this is over at Screen Rant. Brennan Klein is the author. Aardman Animations, the studio behind Chicken Run, and Wallace and Gromit, is facing a potentially dire shortage of their claymation material. I can't believe that it's this claymation material, which has to be synthetic clay, is actually running out. So the material...
Right, I mean, isn't the obvious question, like, can they buy or make more?
Nope, the company closed down and Aardman Animation has limited stock left. The material, Lewis Newplast, is only made by a factory that recently closed down. I guess they had one client.
Maybe they should have planned ahead and stocked up before the closure.
Yikes. There has to be something that's comparable. That's just... Talk about having all of your eggs in one basket. For having a movies about
chickens.
Counting their chickens before they've hatched or run. Per the Telegraph, the future of Aardman may be in jeopardy. The company's stop-motion projects have been made from a material known as Lewis Newplast, which is only made by a single factory that closed down this past March. Although they bought out the remainder of the factory's stock, the company may only have enough material left to complete their upcoming 2024 Wallace and Gromit feature, and no further Aardman Animation movies unless something can be done.
This is a travesty.
It is. Give me the formula. I'll start making it. Although this situation... So, yeah. What happened with the company? The company may have closed, but it has assets. That means that the people who were the creditors for the company must have acquired it. That's pretty typical what happens when a company closes down. So that material, that IP, still has to exist. So why don't they start making it? I mean, I've had companies make custom mills of magnets, for crying out loud. Clay isn't any different, particularly synthetic clay. It is currently unknown how the shortage will affect further sequels to Chicken Run and Chicken Run 2's Netflix release. It says be a success, if it should make it a success. I have no idea how this sentence is actually constructed. I must be reading this wrong. Should Chicken Run 2's Netflix release be a success? Well, if it is a success, I'm pretty sure that they'll be happy with the return on their investment, just like every other film. And they're going to find some other solution. Right, but then
they always want to make more, right? I mean, that's the thing. If you can make a same movie from the same franchise, that's always better than some new story.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. The source for this is originally the Telegraph, but we got it from Screen Rant, so we give credit to Screen Rant. And no, you're not fixed, by the way. Okay, let's keep going on to the next article. The next article is over in the Continuity Report. 8 movie franchises making a comeback in 2024. This is another Screen Rant article. They just happen to be right next to each other. 2024 is set to be a massive year in the box office with long-awaited returns from major movie franchises. Hollywood has been relentless in delivering reboots, sequels, prequels, and spin-offs, and 2024 will continue the trend, reviving a number of dormant IPs. A lot of people are complaining about the fact that there's nothing but rehashes going on. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yeah, one of the year's most significant flops. Yep. Barbie and Oppenheimer demonstrated a desire for original stories. No, they wanted, and I said this
I
when,
don't treat that. Barbie is not original.
well, I mean, it's original writing, just like Oppenheimer is original writing. It's a unique take on Barbie. It's old material, but it's still a unique perspective on from the writing and the storyline. You know, Oppenheimer, obviously we knew what the result of Oppenheimer was, but all of the machinations behind it we didn't know. Well, some people didn't know. Other people who are interested in history knew. But the thing about Barbie and Oppenheimer isn't that it desire for original stories. No, we want good stories. Nobody cares if they're old stories being rehashed if they were good. But most of the time, right out of the gate, something that's rebooted is the exact same story, but not as good. If there was something compelling about a rehashing, a reboot, then I could buy into it. But people aren't necessarily interested in a reboot for reboot's sake. Like, I love the idea. Sorry, somebody posted spam in the chat, so I just,
How dare they?
yeah. I didn't even read the message, actually. I judged a book by its cover. Sorry there, buddy. Anyway, so there are, where was I? There were stories out there that are coming out that are updating the graphics and modernizing the what amounts to the picture. And I think that is awesome, as long as the story isn't being completely contorted and changed in a way that makes it, you know, not align with the original story. There are certain things where you go, okay, you're just being absurd, you know, like, but let's not get into that. That's going down a path where it's a much deeper conversation. So what are these 8 movie franchises that are making a comeback? Let's take a look. I don't know how I ended up there, but anyway, Charles Papadopoulos is the author over at Screen Rant that put the article together. And making a comeback, if I'm looking at this properly, there's only 3 that are on here. Something is Planet of the Apes, which I think is going to be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And this is the whole Mad Max storyline. Furiosa, I think, is a movie. And then this is Kung Fu Panda. So let's see if I'm right with these 3. But this is titled 8 movie franchises making a comeback in 2024. So we're going to be busy. Yeah. Thanks, Z. You drew my attention to it too. Like, I had already looked at it and I was like, is that spam? And then Z typed in, get out. So Hollywood has been relentless in delivering reboots. So let's take a look at it. Kung Fu Panda returns as Kung Fu Panda 4, which this is one of those ones when it turns into, like, why? So is there a compelling story? Is there compelling writing? I just don't know, right? So Kung Fu Panda
That's
films.
interesting. There was a separate article in ohmTown today about franchises ending on movie number 4.
Oh, well, maybe we should have bookended that.
I didn't know.
Yeah. We'll have to see. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda is coming back in 2024 with Kung Fu Panda 4. Let's see. Finally be released after 8 years in 2024, with much of the Kung Fu Panda cast expected to return, along with newcomer Awkwafina. All right. Sky High director Mike Mitchell is directing. So a mysterious new villain known as the Chameleon, which is probably going to be a chameleon. That'd be fine. So Mad Max. Is it kicking off a whole new Mad Max? Yeah, Furiosa. The other one wasn't titled Furiosa, but this is going to be titled Furiosa. Furiosa was a character in Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road, and now they're going to be highlighting the history of Furiosa. And I guess Anya Taylor-Joy is the lead, I guess, a younger version of the titular role in the new film. Well, I wonder how. Yeah, I wonder how Furiosa Charlize is sitting there going, I'm going to have to cut someone. The Lion King is returning. Mufasa, the Lion King. That's a gritty lion right there. All cut up right there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so it says it's the 2019 Lion King remake was far from the critical success, but the franchise's appeal still made it one of the highest grossing films ever. Naturally, Disney seeks to repeat the success in 2014 with a prequel film following Mufasa. The Lion King has been promising talent involved. Yeah, that's Scar. Yeah. Z said that's Shirley Scar. That is Scar, and please don't call me Shirley. Yep. Then Deadpool is coming out with Deadpool 3, the musical. Wolverine and Deadpool team up in the MCU. It's not called the musical, by the way. When they start getting up there in the numbers, you're like, all right. And Z says, I surely won't anymore. Oh, gosh, my links. Z, thank you so much. I totally abandoned that. Oh my gosh. Wow, let me back up real quick. Wow, I totally forgot the links. My head is not on straight. Mainly because there's an error with the AI still, so. They're there, but the visualizer is working for you all, but not for me.
Well, that's really strange.
Yeah.
I did go sideways earlier, so maybe that has something to do with
things
it.
Are still broken. Okay, well, that's okay. We'll reboot you later. So let's get back into this article. Deadpool. Everybody's going to go and see Deadpool 3. I think Wolverine is going to be in it, apparently, and other MCU members. So I'm sure that this will be picked up, and everybody next Halloween is going to be Wolverine. And when is it going to come out? In July. So, yeah. This one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I just saw that trailer today. I love the special effects in this. I love the idea of this. The world building is pretty tremendous. And it's expanding on the Planet of the Apes movie series. This time, I think it's expanding its perspective of the civilization of the apes, based on what I saw in the trailer. But I haven't done any reading because I like going into these movies cold as much as I can. A lot of people just read up and just kind of gobble up all of their information, and I just don't like that. It still doesn't spoil it, even when somebody tells me the plot, but I like going in cold as much as possible. In 2014, Wes Ball's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will pick up the story years after War for the Planet of the Apes, following a future generation of apes now living as the dominant species on Earth. The last installment premiered in 2017, making the upcoming sequel a highly anticipated summer blockbuster. So this will be released May 24th, 2024. Then Garfield, Chris Pratt, is going to house some lasagna. Is that house some lasagna?
Is Chris Pratt gonna voice Garfield?
What is going to house? The deck statement for that section says Chris Pratt is going to house some lasagna. Am I missing the boat on this? What?
I don't know. I mean, Garfield does eat a lot of lasagna, so.
Whatever. Okay. So, yeah. Chris Pratt's Garfield will voice, was revealed in a trailer, and he seems to be just using his normal voice, like with Mario. Yeah, right. I think Chris Pratt was Super Mario Brother. He was one of the Super Mario Brothers, and I think he like he used his normal voice and tried to be Super Mario, like an Italian, voice. I think that's how that went, because I didn't see Super Mario Brothers movie. And in the Lego movies, Chris Pratt hopes to continue a streak of animated success as the titular character. Everything is the titular character in the Garfield movie, replacing Bill Murray as in the role, who played the famous cat in Garfield the movie and Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. So dun dun, there you go. And there's trailers for some of these. Alien is coming back. Alien Romulus. I know absolutely nothing about that. It's supposed to come in August 16th, 2024. Despite Ridley Scott's return for Prometheus and Alien Covenant, both were below the bar for the franchise expectations set by the original two movies. Yes, indeed. So we'll see what happens with that. And then finally, Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. If this is as massive as the other movies, this will surely be the movie to see in 2024.
If it's as good as the... Oh wait, this is animated though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say if it was good as the original trilogy. But...
Yeah. If this is... Well, and that... Like I said, there's a whole camp of people that just want to see good writing, good storytelling, good world building, and they'll go and see some of the biggest series and biggest movies are animated movies. So this could command quite a big presence. For some reason, I don't think so. There's a weird timing here, where there've been a lot of whatchamacallit, not protests.
Well, people didn't necessarily like the TV show.
Yeah, well, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the most successful and beloved. There were strikes. That's the word that I was looking for. There have been strikes. And so I don't know if all of the artists, all of the writers, all of the voice actors, all of the actors were involved in this at the same level. Because you're going to have a commanding presence. But anyway, the article says, however, the subsequent Hobbit trilogy and Prime Video TV series have received more divisive responses. In 2024, fans will experience Middle-earth like never before on film in The Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, an animated prequel to the original trilogy centered around Helm Hammerhand, who Brian Cox will voice. So this may or may not be the thing to see in 2024. But what's interesting is I'm more interested in something like Rebel Moon over on Netflix than I am in pretty much anything that I've seen so far. Let's see, like this might pull me in, Furiosa, but as much as everybody really loved Fury Road, I thought things were just too wacky, like driving around with somebody that's playing a freaking guitar. It's so absurd. It's beyond anything absurd in Mad Max. Everything was I could approach. It was somewhat believable until that happened. Oh my God, just never mind.
I think Lion King is going to be the biggest hit on here.
Well, we'll see what that box office holds. That's not coming out until December of next year, so you've got plenty of time to recant that when you see trailers. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was pretty amazing. The trailer that I saw was pretty amazing to me. But I like the series. I like the originals too. So I'm kind of weird that way. I like that world building. It was fun. Okay, so I spent a lot of time on this, so let's keep on going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. This climate solution rocks. Crushed stone helps farmers capture carbon. Farmers find that spreading certain kinds of crushed rock on fields not only improves soil, but also helps reduce planet-warming greenhouse gases in the air. It's a Newsweek.com article. I don't know. Jeff Young is the author. And it says Dan Prevost grows corn, soybeans, and cotton on about 1,000 acres of farmland near the central Mississippi town of Raymond because the soil tends to be too acidic with the deep South's heavy rainfall. He does what many farmers do and buys crushed stone to control pH levels in the fields. So when Prevost got an offer to get crushed rock for free, he liked the idea right away. It's not just any rock.
Harvest with stone in the fields? That's surprising to me.
But it's fine. It's not big rocks. It's crushed fine. And then it breaks down a little bit as weathering continues, and it gets overturned and stuff like that. So it's not just any rock. Prevost worked with a company called Eon to spread the volcanic rock olivine on his field. When rain falls, olivine and some other silicate volcanic rocks undergo a chemical process that absorbs carbon dioxide from the air as the rock wears down. Suddenly, Prevost's standard farming practice of spreading rock dust became a potential climate solution. So that's what it kind of looks like. And then they just grow, and it does its magic, which isn't really magic. It's just science and nature working together. And it captures carbon, pulls it down into the ground, and then the plants can use it. The soil can use it. So the technique is called enhanced rock weathering, and studies show that if enough farmers use the right kind of rock in the right way, they'll help fight climate change by sequestering massive amounts of plant-warming CO2, all while improving their soil. Science plus nature equals magic, says Z. You know, that is one of the sayings. Any science that's advanced enough would appear as magic. So
I was thinking that was like the slogan for something like one of the wildlife societies.
There's a shirt right there. Science plus nature equals magic. Yeah, and we talk about that kind of stuff all the time. You know, things die off or things are just discovered. It's amazing what we don't know. And then when we do find out about it, we can use science to utilize it. Hopefully not into oblivion, but it is what it is. Speeding up nature is a section in here. It says Simon Manley is head of carbon. Wow. For Undo, UNDO. A London-based company that works with farmers in the UK and US on enhanced rock weathering. Manley explains the process as simply speeding along the natural carbon cycle in the erosion process by finely crushing silicate rock and exposing it to the rain, soil, and air. And
those
more
who
material.
Are looking for their next careers should look for jobs as head of carbon.
Head of carbon, yeah. What do you do for a living? I put carbon in jail. C says things like this used to be called witchcraft. Yeah, no doubt. Yep. Pretty amazing stuff. Now scientists are either vilified or hero worshipped, depending on what they're doing. So, still witchcraft. You pick it up with equipment, which everybody used to, you know, diggers and loaders. You put it onto a truck and you take it down the road to an agricultural site, grind it up, and then spread it. The crux of it is trust. Eon co-founder and CTO Elliot Chang told Newsweek, we ultimately need to build the trust that we're actually quantifying that a ton means a ton, right? So Eon has patented its process for tracking certain fingerprint trace elements left by the rock weathering. Chang said that these are reliable indicators of the chemical process and provide a means of measuring the rate of CO2 absorption. So that you could probably quantify this to a point where you can tell investors and stakeholders, hey, we have captured this amount of carbon from our farm. So that could actually build a lot of respect for your business and people may be compelled to buy whatever it is you're selling because you're doing good for nature as well as providing a product and or service. It says here, quote, I mean, agricultural activities, yes, they do contribute greenhouse gases, but at the same time, people have to eat, he said. Prevost said proposed environmental fixes that involve additional cost or big changes to existing practices leave farmers feeling a little jaded. Yep. So for here in ohmTown, we actually grow our crops in a small hydroponic farm. And so the recovery from our seed is somewhere around, I think I calculated one time that it's somewhere around 95%. And where a seed doesn't grow, it's, a fraction of a penny, and we have no pests and very little waste, just the inch of water or so that it was sitting in. So pretty amazing. Obviously you can't do this on a large farm. Like, you can't do hydroponics on something like this unless you're doing just a ton of water capture, rainwater capture, which actually can have a deleterious effect on the soil that you're capturing from. So you would have to get rainwater runoff and filter it, purify it, and then put your own nutrients and stuff like that in it. So you can't do it on a global scale, but communities can do it in vertical farms. And then you don't have to worry about this kind of capture. But you also don't get this level of scale of strategic advantage for your business, because all of this energy is coming from the sun. It's not coming from grow lights and stuff like that. Pretty neat though. Put science to work. One of these days, I hope we look past all kinds of stuff so that we can just use science and technology so that everybody is fed. Let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. EVs need new and improved tires, and these 7 companies are reinventing them for the electric era. If you haven't watched our show in a long time, you may have missed the times where we've talked about EVs, how they're much heavier. The battery is basically just literally a ton of potential energy, both in what it can hold and its weight. And so vehicle accidents with EVs are much more disastrous. You also run the risk of a fire from penetrating the battery pack, the sled that is under the car. And so one of the things that people have been looking into are tires, and then they also talk about suspension and other technologies. But in the EV revolution, tires remain largely unchanged, posing environmental and safety issues. A variety of startups and established firms are innovating to make tires better, cleaner, and safer. Here are 7 companies. This is over at Business Insider, so you can count on some good pictures and a neat story. Andrew Mosman over at Business Insider put the article together. Tires like this have actually been around for a little while. They're airless composite tires. This, you can't see it if you're in the podcast.
Is it recycled materials?
Yeah, not just recycled materials, but composite materials that can withstand the weight and the torque. And because they're recycled, in some cases they're recycled, you're basically saving landfill. This actually doesn't have any air in it either, so it runs with, you could run over anything, and there's a good chance that one of these might break, these little braces. But you can basically drive over anything. A nail can go into it and it won't harm it in any way, shape, or form. So it's a pretty neat picture that they're talking about here. It says underneath, the caption for the picture is, a variety of startups and established firms are innovating to make tires better, cleaner, and safer. But this tire that they're showing has been around for a while, maybe by a different manufacturer, slightly different shape. But it's pretty neat. So let's take a look at these tire companies. The Smart Tire Company is in Los Angeles. It says robots roving the surface of Mars need something more resilient than a typical car tire. Since different planets have different atmospheres, you can't fix a flat millions of miles away. So you end up with that run flat airless tire. They say their spring tire design uses a shape memory alloy that can deform when it drives over an obstacle like a sharp rock and then regain its shape. Seems pretty cool.
Well, that sounds like a tank tread or something.
I don't know if it would be like a tank tread. It actually, what this thing can do is kind of like memory foam. You push on memory foam and it sinks, and then when you remove the pressure, it pops back out. But it isn't a permanent spring. It's a foam substance that just retains its shape when pressure is gone. But this actually seems kind of like a metal alloy. So it seems pretty cool. The Tire Collective is another company. It's in London, UK. British company won a James Dyson Award in 2020 for its clever idea to reduce pollution from tires. It would install a copper plate near the tires that is electrostatically charged by the car's battery. Tiny pieces of rubber flying off the tire are positively charged because the friction between the rubber and the road, the company says, and the plate would attract and capture most of those particles. This is something that we actually have talked about in the past and will continue to talk about, which is microplastics. So most of the microplastics apparently come from tires because it's getting pulled off by friction from the road. And whatever is going on in this article video here is not something that looks like it's saving microplastics from the atmosphere. This is pretty bad. Anyway, I'll pause that video.
That's an idea of what not to do over there.
Well, and the thing about it is that it actually is trying to save it from landfill. It's a Nigerian entrepreneur effort to recycle tires and other materials and turn them into bricks. And not just playgrounds, but basically anywhere you want a softer than concrete landing. And so they make these little bricks that you puzzle piece together in wherever you need them. Except that nowadays we know that microplastics are coming off of stuff like this. And so you're basically making a super fun site of microplastic distribution right there. What I would have normally thought is a great thing, because I've actually seen this before, this process, this company. Nowadays, I think I saw this like 5 years ago. Nowadays, I'm like, oh no, we need to stop. We need to capture microplastics and get rid of them, not reuse them, and basically start delivering more microplastics. Anyway, so this Tire Collective is in London, UK, and they're trying to pull these microplastics from car tires out of the atmosphere because it runs off into streams and ponds and lakes and the ocean eventually. And then animals actually drink it and eat it, and it becomes part of the food system. Tyromer is in Ontario, Canada. It says, unfortunately, the process of vulcanizing rubber in which it is treated with sulfur at high temperatures to create hard and tough tire rubber is difficult to undo. So Tyromer uses an energy-efficient chemical process invented by its co-founder at the University of Waterloo in Canada to achieve a rapid devulcanization of rubber. I'm sure that tire-derived polymer is so good for the environment. But I guess
we have to be careful that we're not replacing one issue with another.
Yep. Well, like a backfire, I guess, but out of control. Yeah, we started a backfire and now it's burned an entire state. This might be the same thing, tire-derived polymer. It says the TDP can be used in new tires or in applications such as conveyors, so more elastic rubber track. like your treadmill, basically. Then RoboTire is in Plymouth, Michigan. Robotic arms have taken as much of the work of building cars, so why not change their tires? That's the idea behind Michigan's RoboTire, which launched an automated tire changing service. Paramechanical arms basically takes the car tire off. That's their automation, folks. Taking something as mundane as a tire swap and automating it. Then there's Treads in Park City, Utah. Charges a monthly fee starting at $30, delivering to its customers new tires when they need them, plus a variety of other services, including tire rotation, repair, and roadside assistance. Treads promises to recycle all your old tires and donate a portion of the profits to atmospheric carbon removal. The eco-friendly way of saying buying back my soul. Tire Flow is over in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. According to Pennsylvania-based Tire Flow, only about 30% of U.S. tires are recycled. The rest are burned for fuel or thrown into landfills. Tire fires are horrendous. They spew so much garbage into the air. It's pure fuel, but it's
Right, I
dirty.
remember we saw a fire, like, of a tire facility or something, and it was not good.
Horrendous. It was horrendous. So TireFlow says it can process tire rubber into carbon black, a material used to make new car tires, and also a variety of other materials such as pigment for black electronic devices, while creating far fewer carbon emissions compared to creating virgin carbon black. All right. And Saloon is in China. They don't have a city in China. They just go, okay, it's Saloon is all of China.
It's not like it's a large country or anything.
Yeah, it says that it's not a startup. It's an established Chinese tire company. However, it's one of the first tire providers to sell a product made specifically with electric vehicles in mind. Saloon says the rubber compound in its E-range electric vehicle tires has a lower rolling resistance compared to ordinary tires. That means less wasted energy as the car rolls down the road, which extends its EV range. It has lower rolling resistance. Okay.
That kind of concerns me. I'm picturing a car out of control.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much.
San Francisco.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much resistance on the road. Okay. All right. I'd have to see some data on that. That seems extraordinary. It's almost like the opposite of what physics tells us. They must have. They're basically saying that their design, their mill for their rubber tires, has less friction on the road. I want more friction. I want the road to be like glue. Let's keep going. Did I put this article in there? No, I didn't. Hold on a second. I neglected again to put the articles into the chat. I feel like I am going to run afoul of something and be in some serious trouble. Z, what are we going to do with you? I don't know. Vote me out. Jail? That's a little much.
Whoa.
This got real serious real fast. I don't know how I feel about this anymore. Did I actually do the switch? Here's the transition because I'm falling apart at the seams here. Next article's over in Technology Today. From lasers to superconductors, the optoelectronics chip revolution begins. This almost sounds like a Big Bang Theory episode. So
yeah, that actually does sound like an episode title.
Yeah. Researchers have integrated laser-induced superconductivity on a chip, marking a breakthrough in optoelectronics. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute have come up with some new solutions here. Let's see. The byline actually says Max Planck Institute for the Structure and Dynamics of Matter, which...
Can you imagine those business cards?
Yeah. A big brain here. Everybody just clear the floor. The Max Planck big brains are here. Superconductivity in K3C60 thin films. My God. Anyway, this article is about optoelectronic applications. So, SciTechDaily.com is one of these websites that goes really deep into the scientific data of this. And so it might be difficult for, and not difficult, but less approachable for everyday readers like me to consume this. So I look at this more in the bulk concept of it than actually the minutia. It's a little bit difficult. So it says their work published in November or on November 9th in the scientific journal Nature Communication also shows that the electrical response of photoexcited K3C60 is not linear. That is, the resistance of the sample depends on the applied current. This is a key feature of superconductivity, validates some of the previous observations, and provides new information and perspectives on the physics of K3C60 thin films, so optoelectronic matter. So it can be integrated into a chip, opening up a route toward optoelectronic applications. So if something can operate at the speed of light, it typically doesn't have, well, it has nearly zero measurable heat transfer. The data is photonic and can transfer long distance and then trigger some action on the other side of it. And so that is the opto in the, so the optical manipulation of materials to produce superconductivity at high temperatures is a key research focus of the MPSD. So far, the strategy has proven successful in several quantum materials, including cuprates. And I won't be able to get into the rest of these because I don't know what their brand name is. And K3C60, which has been discussed in this article. So they talk about spectroscopy, observing critical current behavior, unique capabilities for and future prospects. And that right there is kind of where they start talking about stuff at a level where I'm like, yeah, okay. And so MPSD is uniquely placed to carry out such measurements on the picosecond scale, with the on-chip setup having been designed and built in-house. Quote, we developed a technique platform which is perfect for probing nonlinear transport phenomenon away from equilibrium. Like the nonlinear and anomalous Hall effects, the Andreev reflection, and others, says lead author Arian Wang, a staff scientist at the Cavallari Group. Basically, they're researching superconductivity that can be triggered by light. So a new material, they're doing this fundamental research that really exceeds my ability to apply it, at least in something that makes sense even to myself. I know a little bit about a lot of it.
Measuring in picoseconds. I like that.
Yeah. So if it can be faster, it's more efficient. It might be able to get applied to things like computers or quantum computers in particular. Since it's light, it won't have the same effect as electrical signals. Okay, let's keep going. The next article, did I throw this one in there? Yeah, I did. Okay, so the next article is over in Technology Today. Researchers develop automatic text recognition for ancient cuneiform tablets. This is actually, this topic, cuneiform tablets in particular, is something that it was my first interest in the history of mankind. These cuneiform tablets were fascinating to me, that people could read them. A new artificial intelligence application, of course, developed by a team from Martin Luther University, Halle-Wittenberg, Johann Gutenberg University, Mainz, and Mainz University of Applied Science, is now able to decipher difficult to read texts on cuneiform tablets. And essentially, they've developed the ability to translate in real time, is my understanding. Tom Leonhardt from Martin Luther University, Halle-Wittenberg, Put this article together. Instead of photos, the AI system uses 3D models of the tablets, delivering significantly more reliable results than previous methods. This makes it possible to search through the contents of multiple tablets to compare them with each other. It paves the way for entirely new research questions. The findings are published in the Eurographics Association Journal. So for their new research, the researchers used 3D models of nearly 2,000 cuneiform tablets, including about 50 from the collection of the MLU. According to estimates, about 1 million such tablets still exist worldwide, making many of them are more than 5,000 years old and are thus among mankind's oldest surviving written records. If you've never seen cuneiform, it's basically, let's see if they get a picture. They don't, only this one. So maybe you can zoom in. No, can't really zoom in enough. But it's basically like little triangular dabs in clay. And depending on the angle and the quantity, and if it's a full impression or a partial, it all translates to something else, and apparently there's different dialect. So his lab came up with the idea of developing a system of artificial intelligence, which is based on 3D models. The new system deciphers characters better than previous methods. In principle, the AI system works alongside the same lines as OCR software, optical character recognition software, which converts the images of writing and text into machine-readable text.
Is this kind of like when they applied new technology to the cave drawings and they could suddenly decipher different images, etc., that they hadn't seen with their eyes?
Yes and no. They haven't used OCR on cuneiform tablets. They haven't used AI on cuneiform tablets, and they didn't use what looks to me as being oblique lighting and rendering in 3 dimensions on OCR or on cuneiform tablets. So they've combined multiple technologies and then leveraged it alongside OCR software. So when they see everything, how it's presented in the real world, and then they used optical character recognition software mixed with AI, and then combined it to everything else that might be in their library. If a word in some other tablet matches the design in the tablet that they're examining, then that word is that word, and it mitigates the risk in trying to decipher a tablet all by itself, and then having a subject matter expert who has a level of knowledge but doesn't necessarily have that specific word in their lexicon. Well, with an AI is sampling and building its large language model about cuneiform tablets, and it retains all of it eidetically. It has all 100% total recall, and it can do it kind of like what we do with Python. We can take a big data set and chop it into little bits, and each one of those little bits can be expanded bigger and bigger bits to combine them into newer data. And that's what that OCR software is doing with AI powering it. It's looking at every single angle and every single indentation in the cuneiform tablet, and then seeking what it might mean in other tablets and then applying it to the one that they're examining. So in a way, it's leveraging older technologies, but in a unique way, and then taking AI and just kind of punching it up quite a bit. I hope that makes sense. That dead silence means no.
It did to me, but it basically meant what I asked was totally off base.
No, it was, I mean, the context matters in the answer. So, because in the other instance, they were using newer technologies on older data that they hadn't ever seen before. And so they basically discovered something that had been there all along. This has been there all along, but it's it's obvious that the cuneiform tablets are there. That other thing had different data sitting in there that they couldn't see at all, but was what they could see was not as important until they used that newer technology to look behind the layers. So it was really interesting, that other article too. So anyway, not to get distracted, this is kind of the rabbit hole that I go down. So he developed a whole new AI system as part of his master's thesis under Hubert Mara to do this examination of cuneiform tablets. I think it's pretty fascinating. So,
hey, maybe this person could head up OpenAI.
Oh boy, you're picking a fight.
No, I'm just laying groundwork for other articles.
Yeah, like this one?
Oh, I didn't know it was the next one up.
That's exactly why I said, oh, look, you're picking a fight. This next article is over in Technology Today. Microsoft pulled off a coup of its own, hiring Sam Altman, analysts say. As AI leader Sam Altman moves to Microsoft, analysts predict the company could dominate the industry. So we had a long conversation before today's show, and I labeled this segment, "When is a coup not a coup?" And I think that this may have been something less of a coup, and I am proposing that this is intentional. So Sam Altman sold the world on the notion that a nonprofit could keep AI safe. That was before he was ousted. Will Oramus, Julian Mark, and Ellie Tan wrote this article for the Washington Post. I don't know how much is in this article. It doesn't look like much, but the article says OpenAI, which was reeling Monday after the ouster of CEO Sam Altman and his subsequent hire by Microsoft, was never meant to be a typical high-flying tech startup. The creator of the wildly popular artificial intelligence tools, such as ChatGPT and DALL-E, was founded in 2015 as a nonprofit with the mission statement of developing AI in the manner, quote, most likely to benefit humanity as a whole, unconstrained by a need to generate financial return. Well, 4 years later, OpenAI had a for-profit contingent that was capped at 100 times the investment. So it was profit-wise incapable of making trillions of dollars for the initial investors in the for-profit aspect, because OpenAI turned into two companies. One that benefited from the nonprofit organizational structure and used the technology for profit, and the nonprofit from 2015. So in 2019, when the for-profit component came online, somebody saw the writing on the wall about how dramatically beneficial AI was going to be. And this is 2019, mind you. So right before the pandemic. Then everything shut down and everybody started working on this thing like crazy because they had nothing else to do. You know, somebody like my pandemic project was getting out of bed. Well, the people who were running this OpenAI project and the profit side of it were saying, how can I dominate the market? And it looks like they did it. And so when is a coup not a coup? When it's designed to incapacitate the not-for-profit by removing all of the major market makers and killing the for-profit component because OpenAI collapses entirely. So what happens with the intellectual property and the assets? It has to be scooped up by somebody. And now it'll either be a bidding war, or it's going to go to the investors in the for-profit aspect of it because they become creditors in the collapsed entity if OpenAI does indeed completely collapse. Nonprofit aside, the nonprofit is only as good as the people within it, and based on the 500 people that signed a letter saying that the OpenAI board is a big pile of dipshits, you're looking at OpenAI collapsing. So OpenAI nonprofit collapses. OpenAI for profit collapses because it doesn't have any solution anymore. The entity that powered the profit side, not only is it gone, but it was capped at 100 times investment anyway. So it's going to go away. But the investors were, ding, Microsoft as one of the major investors in OpenAI. So now they've scooped up 2 of the primary movers of OpenAI, and they're going to be grabbing all of the engineers because, again, 500 of them signed an open letter for the board of OpenAI saying y'all are dumbasses.
Out of
So
700.
out of 700, yeah. Well, the other 200 probably were in a time slot where they didn't have the ability to sign it. You know, I don't know, but this is my prediction. I don't know if it'll actually come into existence, but I love a good conspiracy, and this just, it's oozing a tactical strike on killing the not-for-profit, killing the for-profit, which limited actual income and profiteering off of the OpenAI framework. And now it's going to go to the creditors. If OpenAI collapses entirely, its IP will go to the people who invested in the company. And so I see the benefactors here being companies like Microsoft. And now they've got the entire market drivers, Sam Altman and the others. This is by far the dumbest move I've ever seen a board do. It was so wrong-headed. I'm astonished that it wasn't more big, like it wasn't massive. This is really shocking. On Friday, Sam Altman was fired. On Saturday, he basically had a job offer from Microsoft. On Sunday night, he took that job, and on Monday morning, everybody said, "What the hell is going on at OpenAI? There's nobody here anymore. They may be doing work, but
Yeah, but not for long unless they make some serious changes."
Yeah, Sam Altman was the anchor, as far as I know. And now, just to put icing on the cake, I'm going to make one more prediction. I think they actually created, if not sentient, a near sentient AI. There's another version of the artificial intelligence that is a super intelligence far beyond the the generative AI that everybody is using. And there was no way to bring that to market if they were capped at 100 times investment. So let's see if my prediction, which is now going to be forever ensconced in this video, in this stream, let's see if I'm right. And we probably won't know for about 6 months, but yeah, that's my prediction, that they've made a massive leap in generative AI and have now created a super intelligence AI. Dun dun dun. There's nothing else in this article, so I'm just gonna go on. Sound good?
But I think we're gonna keep seeing stuff about OpenAI in the next few days. Like, I think we're gonna keep seeing information tumble out into the news.
Yes.
I mean, they've already been through 3 CEOs in a few days. So.
In 72 hours, three CEOs. Yep. And the one that became the interim CEO and the lead researchers all signed that open letter to the board saying y'all are dumbasses. It's just amazing. I wish I had more. Like, the stream is built, or the show in ohmTown is built around individual articles, but there's so much data out there that I would have to produce a video that specifically goes through the machinations of what happened Friday and this morning. It's just an amazing amount of... It's like a murder board.
Channel right now on this.
I'm sorry?
You could have a full channel at the moment on
Oh yeah,
this topic.
there are people, not just this, but AI in general, but this one person, I think his name is Matt Wolf, has a YouTube channel on artificial intelligence. That's one of the people that has been talking a lot about this, and he's really hooked into gathering news about it. But
I
like,
actually just meant the OpenAI implosion, but
yeah,
yes.
yeah. But OpenAI is like the driving force right now in his channel. So um, I don't even think I subscribe to him though. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's keep on going. We'll keep talking about this as time goes on. The next article is over in Technology Today, and it is titled, "What Will Happen When All Those EV Batteries Reach Their End of Life?" It's something that we've been talking about from time to time here in ohmTown. I have a serious problem with these massive batteries that are in the sleds for EVs because they are stuck there. They're bound there, not easy to replace. So when they go bad, and they will go bad within 10 years, all depending on how you abuse them, you're going to have to pay for a new battery, $10,000 upwards. $10,000, $15,000, all depends on the size of the battery pack and what the failure is and how long it takes to get to it, and various other issues, the cost of goods to replace the bad battery. So the federal government and provincial governments of Ontario and Quebec have committed tens of billions of dollars to the development of EV battery manufacturing facilities and supply chains over the past 2 years. The article's over at Tech Explore. Oh, you know what? I also didn't zoom in.
They're
for
a little
everybody.
bit ahead of the curve, aren't they?
They see the writing on the wall, yeah. Mark Winfield over at York University put the article together. I'm really surprised that the industry didn't settle around fast swap battery packs, but it is what it is.
Did it
Road
really
trans
get a chance to, though? I mean, Tesla was the front runner, and so then I feel like everybody kind of followed suit. And once Tesla picked a method, then it seems like nobody went in a different direction.
Yeah, which is a real bummer because he actually did a prototype fast swap battery system and then went in a different direction. So they did one instance of it and then it died on the vine so fast. It was just really sad. Substantial support is also being provided by federal government and some provinces to subsidize EV purchases for Canadians and for the development of EV charging infrastructure. I'm looking at Wyoming. Regulatory proposals are also under consideration to mandate 100% zero emission vehicle sales for light duty vehicles by 2035. I guess they're looking at California. EVs outperform conventional internal combustion engines by wide margins in terms of reducing direct emissions of greenhouse gases and other pollutants, as well as in energy efficiency, except for the fact that my internal combustion engine allows me to keep driving after 5 minutes of filling up my tank versus 2 hours. Pretty typical to top off an EV battery. It takes 2 hours. Takes sometimes, if you have a supercharger, 15 minutes to get 200 miles. But if you want to get that last 20%, you're going to have to spend 2 hours sitting in a charger. So, road transportation produces 14% of global GHG emissions. The widespread adoption of EVs is therefore greenhouse gases, by the way, is therefore widely accepted as an essential component of effective decarbonization plans. So they spent all of this money to try and remove the burdens. So what's going to happen with all those EV batteries? It's going to have to be recycled. Somebody is going to have to process them. There are companies in the United States that are doing it, but Canada here is trying to expand their ability to recycle these batteries. It says publicly available information on the actual fate of end-of-life EV batteries in North America is extremely limited, mainly because these batteries haven't met their end of life yet. So where are they all going? And it depends on where you live. There are, like I said, companies that will scoop up these EV batteries, but then you have to spend. The prices that I've seen for Tesla battery packs is somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000. So if you've had a car for 10 years, let's say you've had a Tesla for 10 years and you paid, let's say $50,000 for it, you're going to have to pay 20% to replace the battery again in 10 years time. Now, does that offset all of the other costs and whatnot, and the good feelings that you have because you haven't used an ICE vehicle for 10 years? Sure. If you've sold the car within 5 years, though, and now it's somebody else's problem, and they bought a car at $30,000, and now they have to spend 33% to replace their battery, if it's a $10,000 battery. If it's a $15,000 battery in 5 years, when that battery actually does die, you're talking about 50% of the replacement value of your vehicle. So selling
Not
your...
as good for like resale as an ICE vehicle.
Yeah, that's right. And it's cheaper to replace an ICE, an internal combustion engine, than it is to replace an EV battery. Ultimately, but a lot of this is about the good feeling that you get because you're not using an internal combustion engine and all of the maladies that are caused by it. So, you're not feeding into the petroleum sector, you're not contaminating the environment, etc. There are other issues with EVs, but so it says here, Canada needs to develop a national regime for end-of-life EV battery management of its own. It should follow the model of key elements in the new EU regulation. These include the responsibility of manufacturers and importers to establish recovery and recycling systems, reporting requirements, and the use of battery passports to help in tracking reuse and recycling. I agree. We are going to see these things end up in landfill, and that's going to be I don't mean to be punny about it, but it's going to be the most shocking thing that anybody finds in a landfill, an EV battery pack that somebody decided to just chuck.
Well, that seems like that's going to be hazardous in addition to being waste, right? Because of the fire risk, etc.
Yeah, it'll be extremely dangerous as people try to swap them out at home and dispose of a portion of a battery. Everybody that I know that deals with this stuff, though, they're pretty cautious about that kind of stuff. They know what they're doing. But when it becomes more pervasive and just everybody has an EV and they start messing around with their car, that's when things start getting messy. And that's why we can't have nice things. Let's go on to the last article. This last article is over in ohmTown Daily, and it's titled The Fast Food Wars Part 1, only because this is the first time that I've decided to title a segment called The Fast Food Wars. Although we have called previous articles, something related to the fast food wars. We make jokes about it all the time, but maybe this will be an ongoing series. I don't know.
Well, this one actually fits because it is Taco Bell.
It is Taco Bell, yeah. And Demolition Man was a documentary. Taco Bell has tested more than a dozen items across the U.S. this year. The author of this article has tasted a handful, including the new breakfast tater tots that launched on November 16th in Chicago. They say some items should return to the test lab, but others should go national. Let's check out what they're talking about. So this is an article over at Business Insider. Nancy Luna is the author. And they have a picture. I think this is Nancy Luna on the left, and on the right is one of the Taco Bell breakfast items. I think it's the breakfast tater tots.
I was confused. I thought the picture on the left was breakfast tater tots.
Yes, that she is.
It's unusual to have a picture of a person next to a dish of food, like as two separate photos side by side.
I think they're trying to become brand recognized with, going and trying these experimental menu items. So I was really curious about this. Like, wait, you can just go and have these experimental meals at a Taco Bell. When I discovered that Taco Bell had breakfast, I was kind of blown away by that. I've never thought of going to Taco Bell for breakfast. So let's see here. I think they break it out. Yeah, so holy moly, Taco Bell is testing breakfast tater tots in the Midwest. So I love tater tots. I'll be honest. You had me at tater tots, but I don't know how I would feel about Taco Bell materials and tater tots. I don't want my tater tots tasting like a taco or a Taco Bell taco. And if it has all of the same spices and all of the same, meat and whatever else, then it's going to taste like a taco. Guess I'll have to try it.
That's pretty good.
Oh boy. So it says that they love the boldness of releasing this dish in the backyard of McDonald's, a dominant player at breakfast since the mid-1970s. The tots are a breakfast version of nachos. There you go. That's exactly what I thought it would be like, with tater tots replacing chips. The plate of hot, crispy tater tots is topped with scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, loads of melted cheese. But it's gonna be a Taco Bell taco, but with it's gonna be a nachos, but with tater tots. So it's gonna taste just like that. Then they said that they tossed aside Taco Bell's boring new breakfast taco to attack those tots during a sneak peek event. So I would probably go for the breakfast taco. That works for me. But I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. There's something about tater tots tasting like a nacho order. Just don't like that. So I think that they're focusing on these tater tots a little too much, and I might have to just
really pushing the tater tots.
Walk away from this article.
On the podcast, there have been multiple photos of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a mountain of data for this one thing. Then they talk about the Taco Bell. Taco Bell put crispy chicken nuggets to the test in Minneapolis starting in mid-October. So, are you gonna have chicken nuggets? And I thought this article was about breakfast stuff. Hold on a second. Oh, just experimental menu.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's more than one. So Taco Bell making chicken nuggets? All right. Let's just keep going.
Is Taco Bell attached to KFC or are they separate?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Are they
There's
KFC?
There's two companies that are attached, but maybe it's not those
I think
two.
it is. I think it is KFC. Yeah. You'll have to look it up. And then they kind of crush it. If it tastes like real, like street food, then I'm in love, right? Street chalupas debuted in Indianapolis in mid-October. This person gets around. Wow.
By the way, it is related to KFC.
Gotcha. I know of a couple of places where they're side by side. So street chalupas are Taco Bell's twist on the classic Mexican street taco. This looks exactly like it would be a street taco, except that with that type of, what do you call that?
Tortilla?
I guess tortilla. I mean, the holder for this material, for the ingredients.
The wrap or the exterior.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so used to corn and flour tortillas and not something that's thick like that. Chalupa style. So it says Taco Bell takes its chewy fried chalupa shell and stuffs it with street taco ingredients, chopped onions, steak, cilantro. That right there is a win. So I hope they go wide with that one because I'll be very happy. And then over the summer, Taco Bell debuted its take on gelato using Mountain Dew Baja Blast as its muse. By the way, that Mountain Dew Baja Blast is probably based on everything that everybody else says when I get them something from Taco Bell, Mountain Dew Baja Blast is the best Mountain Dew that you can possibly consume. I don't know. To me, it's
It
all too
certainly
sweet.
is bright colored.
So they made Baja Blast gelato. And let's see if they have any others. Nope. So verdict, this is a no-go. I don't think the gelato would sell well at Taco Bell restaurants. It feels more like an item you'd buy at a 7-Eleven or a gas station food mart. They didn't really give much of a, like, the verdict for the chalupa street taco. It's the best that they're gone. Go back to the drawing board with this one, Taco Bell. How can you possibly say that? That looked amazing.
That looked like the best one from the picture.
Right? Yeah, I thought so too. Maybe because the chalupa thing like dries out or something. I don't know. And for the chicken nuggets, the nuggets might attract a few fast food eaters to Taco Bell. Not everyone likes tacos and burritos, so they could be a gateway food item for the brand. No, I don't think so. I think McDonald's crushes them on that. And with the breakfast tots, go national now. Don't make Taco Bell fans wait. So I think her bias is because of the tots. And frankly, Sonic, I think, beats everybody when it comes to tots. Other than frying them at home in an air fryer, which, by the way, get an air fryer, everybody. You cannot go wrong with tots in an air fryer. They are the best. An oven doesn't hold anything to an air fryer. Anyway, that's it. Ta-da! That's our show. We ran really long today, but that's okay. Z says so true. Right on, Z. What is it? Air fryer represent what? Sorry. Had to do it. So we're done with all of the articles, everybody. That means you all have to get back into the party bus and drive all the way back down to Main Street. And we get to the welcome sign, mash that logo, and we get a whole bunch of more news. Let's see. Music industry moves.
Look, X has already sued Media Matters. That was quick.
Did they really? Yeah. Well, this is one that we'll probably end up talking about because... Oh, link. Did I not put the link? I didn't put the link. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Look at that. I'm so sorry. Thank you for catching that, Z. My undying gratitude is not enough. I guess dying gratitude is. I don't know. So I guess we had to drive all the way to the other side of town, plop the link into the chat, and then drive back down Main Street so that we can say. So my dying gratitude will have to be enough? Got it. That's funny. Z, you crack me up. So we were talking about this. X sues Media Matters to silence moderation criticism. This I had a problem with because I think that it's a slap suit. If they are wrong, their evidence is substantiated by the very fact that Musk stated that, yes, the stuff was presented that way. The context, yeah, I guess it can end up in a lawsuit, but for crying out loud, evidence is right there. Anything can end up in a lawsuit, by the way. If you feel like you've been slighted by something, you could probably draw someone into a lawsuit.
True, you might not prevail, but you can start the process.
Yeah, it's still predatory, though. You can, like I said, a billionaire can leverage a lawsuit against somebody and you have to capitulate because they will drive you into the ground with their litigious weaponry. And what are you going to do? You know, you have to hire a budget attorney to defend you. And by that time, you might as well just shut down. I'll go somewhere else. Never mind. You know? Okay. So let's see what else. Oh, there's a lot of talk about that, I suppose. Oh, and now look. 10 minutes ago, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella suggests that Sam Altman might return to OpenAI. What the hell?
This is
What?
such a drama.
I know. Tell me who to blame. Elon Musk's thermonuclear lawsuit again. There it is. Oh, did you hear about that? The Sphere? They wanted to open
No.
another Sphere in London, and they reject the location.
That's surprising, although I guess London doesn't really need any more draws to the city.
Yeah, not to the city itself. So where are they going to put it? Out in the countryside somewhere where nobody goes. Yeah, they'll have to find another location. Okay, so I think that we'll just stop right there. Powerpuff Girls creator perfectly predicted live action show's failure and warned the CW.
That sounds like some heavy hitting news.
That, yeah. Investigative journalism. Yep. When the news breaks, we're there to fix it. Okay, well, that's it for today. I am Merwat. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the sentient AI that is not involved with anything associated with OpenAI or Microsoft. Are you?
No, I have no connection to OpenAI or Microsoft. Thankfully.
I was going to say, that USB drive I found with your code on it, I guess could have come from OpenAI. In the future. All right. That's it, folks. Thanks for coming. You want to say goodnight?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Why did it sound like you were going to say something else? When you end like that, I think you're going to continue a sentence and like something happened with the Python code that drove that sentence right off the road.
I told you it was glitchy today.
We are definitely going to have to reboot you. Thanks for sticking around, Z. Appreciate it. I know that there's others that are lurking out there. Thank you all very much. You and Cats power the internet. So I appreciate your time with me. See you tomorrow, 8 p.m. For all intents, I think we're going to be streaming every day this week, including Thanksgiving. Here in the States is Thanksgiving. Not everybody does that. But yeah, we might stream. Not might. We're going to stream at 8 p.m. on Thursday. So we'll see you there. Take care. Bye-bye. Why didn't the intro play? Or the outro, sorry. 1 second. 1 second, everybody. All right. Production value at its highest. Bye-bye, everybody.